like any good habit, time blocking needs to be done consistently and with a good routine in order to get the most out of it. Welcome to the 6th and final video in my time blocking series, where we are going to synthesize everything we've learned and come up with some pretty dang good routines to make sure it sticks. This series is sponsored by ACA Flow, a product I will be using throughout the course of this video, but as always, these skills are transferable to whatever planners and productivity tools you already use. So this on screen is my ACA Flow. You can see my calendar on the left-hand side here with a bunch of things time blocked out for the coming week. You can see I'm doing a variety of larger time boxes that are not necessarily one specific task, and I'm doing a mixture of tiny little miniature tasks that are incrementally broken out over the course of my week. Plus, all of my meetings and events are in this calendar as well. But this system would be nothing, and I do mean nothing, if I didn't have a good weekly routine for making this happen. Now, within ACA Flow, you can see the calendar on the right-hand side and your task list over here on the left-hand side. Like, for example, I could add a task, prep for meetings, boom, it would be a task, and then I can drag and drop it on the calendar. But we're not really gonna be doing that for this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it back. We're just gonna be working right within the calendar itself. I'm gonna make sure it can show the full days of the week. And let's get started planning our routines. So a reasonable routine to build, I think, would be at minimum once a week, where you sit down with your calendar and you check in for the entire week ahead where you will do certain tasks. So I like to do that on a weekend. That might be a weekend morning for you or a weekend afternoon. I usually do mine on weekend afternoons, probably actually closer to like 3:30. I don't need quite that long. I need like an hour. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in time blocking for next week. And I have a special calendar for all my productivity routines, which is orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that an appointment in orange so that I can clearly see it. It clearly stands out as a routine that I need to be doing so that I don't miss my routines, which is very important. So time blocking for next week, and then once I get to Sunday, I will time block for the following week. I already did that for the week you see here on the calendar, which is why you see so many things slotted in. And when I do this weekly time blocking thing, I am often coming in and just off the top of the dome saying, what do I need to get done in the coming week? Maybe I reference a to-do list, maybe I reference my email, but most of it is from my memory, just to get a quick sketch of what's going on. And then as the week goes, I will fill out each individual day more and more in detail with a second routine I recommend, which is the daily routine. Generally, I think your daily time blocking routine should look like a half hour, 15 minutes in the morning when you are looking ahead to your schedule during the day and saying, oh, I'm actually gonna do this here, this there, that there. This is how it's all shifting around. So for example, say I start work at 8 a.m. just before work at 7:30, I can plop in a routine that says daily time blocking. Ironically, I feel like I spell time blocking both without a space and with a space. We're just gonna let that one ride. Let me know in the comments if time blocking has a space or not. So that's my daily time blocking, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this repeat every single day. Let's go every weekday. Save, and then it appears on all of my weekdays. I don't usually time block for the weekends. I will often just like look ahead and say, what am I doing morning, evening, night on this weekend? But if you time block on the weekends, or if you need a really strict schedule on the weekends, obviously put your daily time blocking item every single day that you need time blocking. Now, it might feel tedious at first to build in these morning check-ins, but trust me, where it feels tedious on Monday, by Wednesday, when your boss has thrown 2 new projects on you and that person who you needed that thing from to work on your projects hasn't followed up with you, so everything is shuffled around, everything is moving left, right, and center, you will be super grateful that you actually have a routine, a daily time to check in with your calendar, check in with your to-do list, and make sure you are reshuffling things appropriately. Believe me, I've been there. I also want to bring up another thing that we did do a video on earlier in the time blocking series is make sure you're planning in breaks. You can see here on Monday, when I get to my daily time blocking session, I should be looking at this day and saying, oh my God, where's my lunch hour? So instead of putting my draft magazine content here, I'm gonna go ahead and scoot that down and give myself at least a half-hour lunch break. And I'm gonna go ahead and fit in an hour to half-hour lunch breaks on the rest of my days this week. I'm also noticing that on Saturday I have a spa appointment, and before that I have scheduled to do some errands. I'm gonna go ahead and move those errands up so that I have time to eat before the spa appointment. Otherwise, I will forget to eat if I don't put it in. Lunch break. Breaks are really a routine that I highly, highly recommend you put into your time blocking system because you need to routinize your rest just as you need to routinize your productivity. Anyway, just make sure you're building in regular rest breaks because otherwise your time blocking will quickly become unstable. I am still honestly a little bit worried about this day, but we will get there when I get to my daily check-in. Lastly, in one of these scheduled routine blocks, either your daily time blocking block or your time blocking for next week block on the weekend, I recommend you go in to your time blocking and just put the necessary materials you need to get started with the task in the task. So what do I mean by this? I mean that when I am working on my fan fiction, say on Saturday at 2 p.m., I'm gonna be working on my fan fiction. In order to hit the ground running with writing whatever I need to write in that fan fiction, I'm gonna go ahead and put a link to the Google Doc in which I will be writing this fan fiction. So I'm just gonna go ahead, open the task and drop the Google Doc link in there. And then boom, when I get to 2 p.m. on Saturday, I can just click this open, click into the Google Doc and get started right away. There's no shuffling or flitting through folders or finding the link. Nothing is gonna delay me from starting that task right away. If I have to put event flyers on Insta, I might also write, you can find the event flyers in Slack so that if I get confused when I come to that task, I see the note and I'm like, oh cool, this is where I go. Just leave yourself little clues, little helps, and little hints throughout your time blocking process because when you're using your calendar as your to-do list like this, it is so helpful to have those notes built in so that, again, you can just hit the ground running. It's not gonna take you an extra 15 minutes of prep on top of the time that you already blocked out in your calendar to do the actual task. That is gonna help you a lot. ACA Flow has a bunch of cool features that I've already talked about a lot on this channel, but if you wanna get started with them fast, they also do have one-on-one user onboarding, which makes this process, setting up something like this, super, super easy. If you wanna check them out, head to the link in my description box below to learn more and try them for yourself. So to recap, set up weekly routines where you are setting time blocking for the week ahead. Make sure you have a daily check-in so that you can reshuffle as your week goes on. Make sure you're building in blocks to rest so that you can routinize your rest just as you do so for your productivity. And make sure you're leaving yourself little notes and helps and tips along the way so that once your calendar notification lets you know it's time to start shifting your task, you have the tools you need to hit the ground running. All right, that is a wrap on the time blocking series. I hope you guys learned something. I certainly did doing all of this research and practicing this in my real life. So with that said, I'm gonna leave the time blocking series on the screen right next to my head so that you can check out that playlist for more goodness on time blocking if you so desire. Thanks again to ACA Flow for sponsoring, and otherwise I will see you all in my next video. Bye.